I'd like to, for you, each one of you, take out this sample charter document that I just gave you. And even though it says on the upper left-hand side, July 2nd, 2014, I'd like for you to put the date right at the right-hand side, 7/2/2014, to be sure that this is what we are discussing here tonight, okay? Mr. Mayor?
I'm looking for it.
Right there.
This is the one? Okay. So what's the date?
Today's date.
Right here in the left top corner.
Yeah, it's right here.
I understand it, but I want you to put it there and to put the time that we have it today, because I have a reasoning for that, okay?
All right, so I put the time.
5:30.
5:30, okay.
There's a
5:30?
reason.
5:30.
No, it's 5:35, it's 5:45.
Military zone or regular?
Okay, you want to be picky, Mr. Mr. Commissioner?
I try to follow you.
5:30, okay. PM. Got it.
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
may I
5:30.
open the meeting, please?
Okay, welcome to the city of West Miami. This is the Charter Review Board. Today is Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2014, at 5:40. First is Pledge of Allegiance. Can you write this? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Mayor Eduardo Mujina,
Present.
Vice Mayor Juan Blanes,
Present.
Commissioner Candida Blanca asked to be excused this evening, Commissioner Luciano Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Rhonda Rodriguez,
Present.
Member Ralph de la Rosa is excused this evening, Member Maria Diaz,
Here.
Neida Galvez is absent, Fran Hernandez,
Present.
Ralph Oreo, excused this evening, John Parker,
I'm here.
Evelyn Paz, Irene Rodriguez has to be excused, Alex Soto,
Present.
Michelle Surriagain,
Present.
Yolanda Aguilar,
Present.
Jose Villalobos, City Attorney,
Present.
and Nelly Gonzalez, present.
Okay. Citizen presentation.
No, nobody has registered to send them.
Okay, item 4, approval of the minutes of June 18, 2014.
And I understand you had not too much time to review the minutes. And actually, I sent you yesterday the minutes of the 18th and the 25th. So it's up to your consideration.
Annette, this is just one or two?
This is the 18th, I have the 25th too.
Okay.
No, eso es otra cosa que quiere después. Mira, that's a resolution, a draft resolution. So these minutes were sent to the members yesterday, and I apologize, I think I did not send it to the commission members, and so it's up to you to declare this approval or, I mean.
Isn't this the last meeting?
Decide.
Potentially?
The 25th is the last meeting, the 18th is the meeting prior to the 25th.
No, I'm talking about the charter review. Right? This is potentially the last meeting?
No,
No, we still have one more? Okay.
potentially, we still have one or two more.
If I may, Mayor, as a point of clarification, I think we discussed having one if needed on July 16th.
Is that a 5-second rule?
I don't need any idea.
You got it, you got it?
Fill it out.
You got it? You got it? Okay. You got it? The one. This is the 25th.
I don't.
And you don't have these, and I sent them yesterday.
You have a copy of the 25th?
Yes.
Anybody has any comments on the minutes? Do you prefer to defer it, or?
The 25th minutes were taken by, the notes were taken by the city manager in my absence. I was on annual leave, and I went by the city manager's notes and by the video, so you know. There are two meetings.
Hey, both, you need both.
Yes.
No, she hasn't.
Neri,
Yes.
yo tengo su cargador aquí, recuérdame de nuevo por aquí.
Okay, I'll ask the question again, so you wanted, I don't mean to rush it, that's why I'm just wanting to keep it. If you need more time, let us know, but.
They're generally consistent with what occurs.
Well, as a matter of fact, I should say this. The minutes are reflected in the document that I just gave you, sample charter questions.
Okay.
So if we discuss the sample charter questions, I think that it will, at some point, if you find any issues, you may bring it about, give me a call or something, and I'll bring it out to the attention of each and every one of you. But we try to reflect in the amended, in the sample charter, all of the issues that we have been discussing.
Okay,
I looked at them, I don't see anything
okay,
wrong, so I motion to approve.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 This approval is because on the agenda only reflects the June 18th minutes, and they were provided also with the June 25th meeting minutes. So is this approval is only for the 18th or for both?
As the mayor.
I motion to approve both.
Both. Motion by Rodriguez and second by.
Shouldn't the motion to approve the minutes come as two separate motions? since
Two
they
separate
were
motions, yeah.
Two separate meetings?
For the 18th,
Motion.
motion by Rodriguez, second by Litchfield.
I need a motion for the June 25th.
Motion.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 5, unfinished business. Item 6, new business. Opening remarks by the mayor. I'm doing my own reading. Once again, welcome, and let's move as quickly as possible through it so we can wrap this up. Time is of the essence. Next item.
Schedule of next charter review board meeting, July 16, 2014, if needed.
It's going to be needed.
It's going to be needed? Okay. So,
Would it be worthwhile to have a meeting on the 7th as well? Next week?
I thought we had it.
I had, it's only in my notes I wrote down July 7th.
Yeah, look, July
Yes, it
9th.
was,
I mean,
there were
July
conversations,
9th.
because July 9th was considered
It
too.
was.
7 days later.
Yeah, we have one on the 9th. We have one scheduled on the 9th already.
Yes.
okay, so you were right and I was wrong.
What date is it again?
Yeah,
July
July 9th.
June 9th.
I'm sorry,
July
July
9th, 5:30.
Sorry.
So Wednesday, July 7th?
So July 9th, and then on the 16th, if one is
If
needed.
necessary, if needed.
Okay.
July 9th,
July 9th at 5:30?
5:30.
Yes.
and July
16th,
If needed.
16th.
if needed.
I might have a conflict with that one. Something just came up.
For which
July
one?
9?
Yeah. That's on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
5:30. I might be able to be here in the beginning of the week. Okay.
The next item, it would be item C. Review Article 7, Transition Schedule, Sections 8:01 through 8:10.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say that this is not the end, not even the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. I was very, very worried about that certain issue about the mayor being abolished and not in existence. We spent when I say we, I'm talking about the manager, the clerk, and myself, in a very dusty room, looking for very dusty records from 1980 on. That was 34 years ago. Okay. We looked to the records every 2 years, and we found that and the mayor would be very pleasantly surprised that on April 14, 1986, at 8 p.m., there was a meeting of the board where refreshments were served. And the following item was reported to have been approved by the electorate of the city of West Miami. Shall the charter be amended to elect a mayor for a term of 2 years from candidates running for mayor? This amendment shall not increase or decrease the power of the mayor and councilmen, and it shall become effective on the election to be held on the second Tuesday of April 1988. In other words, oh, by the way, it was approved by 84% of the votes of the city of West Miami. Okay? This apparently was sent to, and sometimes we need to look beyond the written word. This was sent to Municode, and apparently it was forgotten. They didn't publish it or what, and it went through, and it slipped through the fingers. It was very fluid, so we took it for granted that the mayor was the mayor, and so on and so forth. And but this needed to be amended. This needed to be found. Actually, not amended because it was amended by referendum, but it needed to be corrected. And as hard as you all have worked, and as hard as Yolanda, Neri, and I have worked, the entire exercise has been justified just by the resolution of this issue, okay? Which is to the merit and credit to both the manager and the clerk. So I'm very happy that this was resolved.
Your office.
What year was this again?
86.
1986.
I just moved to the city.
Harris Becker received 427 votes. Valerie Hickey Patton received 529 votes. Clyde Jewett, etc. In other words, this was the election of that particular year, including the 3 amendments. The other charter, for your benefit, shall the charter be amended to compensate the council member $20 per meeting, not to exceed 30 meetings per year, and $100 per month non-accountable expense account. And the other one shall to be amended, requiring 4/5 vote to reverse planning board requiring vice mayor to act as mayor during vacancy, eliminating fire director, providing city manager as ex officio city clerk, appointing city council and city attorney and city engineer with removal for cause by 4/5 vote, requiring council to appoint charter review board no later than 240 days prior to the second Tuesday of April every 4 years. Now, by the way, this could not happen today because a principle of a single subject matter as far as charter reviews and referendums are concerned. You cannot today have a heading approving or putting out to the public more than one issue. In other words, when this was approved, and it was approved by 77%, by the way, it says shall the charter be amended requiring forfeit vote of the council to reverse planning board. That's one subject. Requiring vice mayor to act as mayor during vacancy. 2. Eliminating fire director. 3. Providing city manager ex officio city clerk. 4. Appointing by council of city attorney. 5. City engineer. 6. And so on and so forth. So there were like 10 matters on the same subject. By the way, the office of the Attorney General, I always review, even if I know the answer, I think I know the answer, I always review backgrounds, research, etc., and go beyond that line of reading what is presented to me. And I called again today the office of the Attorney General, and I was advised that in fact the city attorney, the city manager, and city clerk are not in conflict. In other words, it might be, and it was approved by charter amendment, so it can remain there if you so wish. By the way, we have,
And that would be the manager acting as ex officio city clerk in the absence of the city.
correct. Now, the clerk may, at her will or his will, at any point appoint as many deputy clerks as he or she wants, okay? So this eliminates one of the questions that I have here. Now, I have to tell you that we're required to publish all of the questions that are going to go before the electorate on November 4th, prior to the election. I think it's 30 days, Madam Clerk. We're supposed to publish it.
Twice.
We're supposed to publish
Twice.
the items that are going to go to the ballot,
Yes,
okay?
2 times on a newspaper general circulation.
Now,
You have to publish it twice?
The 5th week before the election and
And
the
the
3rd
third.
week before the election.
Yes.
it has to be published in Spanish, English, and Creole. So,
That's a lot. What is the cost of all that?
How long?
Usually $2,000,
A simple
$1,500.
ballot with just candidates.
Yes, with candidates. It has been my experience, the ballot with 1 mayor and 2 commissioners, it has been like 1,500, 2,000
Per ad.
per ad on a weekend.
So that's like a
on-
1-line or 2-line thing.
So with all
So
this,
with all
Right.
this,
Now,
what do we?
A quarter
Right.
page of the newspaper, of the neighbors section.
Now,
So something as extensive.
if we publish
as
16 in Spanish, English, and Creole,
What do we do
that
about it?
presents a problem that the commissioners is requesting information on.
Who will do the translation?
What's an estimation?
I'm sorry?
Who will do the
Yes.
translation?
I have no
Elections
idea.
department. The
The-
Creole.
The elections department.
Would that cost us more?
Absolutely.
so that
Well,
was
Ballpark?
any-
Do we have a
well, it
ballpark?
will, no, it would cost, no, because we don't know how many questions the board or the committee is gonna determine that are necessary to bring.
We just
to
eliminated
voters.
one, by the way, right now.
Right, so.
Eliminated
That
one.
being said, also, the questions, and I don't know whether this has changed, but I know for a fact, the questions have to be, I believe there's 75 letters per question. They have to be drafted in a very condensed fashion, because that's the way that the guidelines are set.
No,
by
I have
the
done that.
county.
I have done that. If you see, I mean, the largest question is question
Right.
number 1 and number 5, I think.
Right, that being said, assuming, and we don't have a cost estimate, but I can tell you what a budget ad runs. A budget ad that has a 1/4 page requirement and a budget summary ad next to it in the neighbor section not in the particular section of the paper that this ad goes to, because this is a legal ad, so it's more expensive. You're talking about $3,000. You know that legal ads, Evelyn? You know this, obviously working for the Gables, legal ads are extremely expensive. If the city were to publish all the questions except the one that was just cleared here, that you're looking at a legal ad, running this ad twice, you're looking at an expense of $15,000. Easy.
Madam Manager,
In addition to the election cost itself.
that's your estimation.
That's my, yes.
And how is that gonna affect the budget?
Definitely, we would have to incorporate, once the board concludes its recommendations and the board makes a final determination.
The answer is negatively.
The answer is it's gonna cause an impact
Okay.
to the city's budget, something that is not contemplated. I put a place marker in the preliminary budget, which I'm working on, and I'll be meeting with the mayor tomorrow, $7,500.
Okay.
In the event that a question or two gets actually put forth on the ballot, because you have election costs, and then you have legal ad requirements.
Okay,
That
and
was-
then I'd like to piggyback on that response and respond as follows. Everything that we have discussed and everything that have been approved is important. The charter is very old, and it has never been changed in totality, in total, because it's very, very cumbersome and expensive. It was created, and then it was changed, and so on and so forth, manipulated one way or the other. And as you can see, and I just read you, charters were amended, even put in one question, 10 subject matters, okay? That instead of going into one particular place, they were cherry-picked and put one here, one there, one there, one there. So what I had done, and I can show you my notes, is go through the charter multiple times with the clerk and the manager, and I have not been at work for 2 weeks, okay, doing this. But there are things that are very, very, very important that needed to be here, and there are things that are not quite that important that you would consider relooking at it, or looking again at it. And perhaps if you permit me, I'll make those suggestions.
Mr. Attorney,
Yes, sir.
can we prioritize by matter of
Definitely,
importance?
definitely.
We
Definitely.
would have known this before, because we've wasted a lot of time in issues. If this would have come up before, we could have tackled exactly what it was. I mean, I really honestly feel that this changes the whole
Well, this-
aspect of this thing,
this
because
needed-
there's no way we should.
It needed to be
Let me,
done.
let me respond to
Yeah,
that a
but the
minute.
cost is
Let-
outrageous.
Let me respond to that a minute.
Yeah, to prioritize.
I have a suggestion. I mean,
And
there's
Let
no
let
way
me,
we're gonna-
excuse me,
I'm
let
sorry,
me
yes,
respond to that a
Go
minute.
ahead, go ahead.
How do we know what's more important if you don't go through the whole exercise?
Well, I agree,
So you have to go through the whole exercise to pick up whatever you think ought to be here,
But
and
your
finally,
mindset is different. Now that I know this, I'm not gonna be nitpicking about one thing when there's other things that are important.
you're totally right.
It's a totally different,
That's
vision.
why the charter questions, without the completion of the charter review board, because we're down to the last article, I think Article 8, I think this is gonna give you a pretty good idea of what you deem is most important here to submit to the voters for a consideration. Obviously, you would have to agree on a reduced number of questions. But we don't know this from the get-go. This is, when you're opening up the charter and you're looking at a Pandora's box that you're opening up. And there is just no
does
way
it
of
have to
telling.
be published, like in the Miami Herald? You can't go
Yes.
with a newspaper like one of these on the street?
Let me explain something to you, because it's happened before. We will meet certain standards for publication if we use a smaller newspaper like the Miami Daily Business Review, which is a legal newspaper that is published 5 times a week. It meets Florida statute requirements. The problem is that in many instances, cities have been challenged for hiding the legal notices in a small paper that is not circulated to every member of the community. Now, if we publish it in the Miami Herald, our argument is, we published it in the Miami Herald, in the neighbor section, that gets published in the community where you live.
Nope.
And if you didn't buy the paper or didn't do that as an online edition, then that's pretty much the burden is on you, the taxpayer. Cities have been challenged time and time again for a perception of obstructing the process by not publishing in a paper of circulation. I don't know what the courts have upheld, and that's definitely not my territory. My job is to bring it to you and tell you what the cost is.
Is the cost the same to do online and print? Or can you do online and not print, or print and not online?
It has to be done printed. to
So,
make-
so does online fall into that, or we pay
Yes.
extra for online?
Because there is an online, like a digital edition,
Okay, so
which
it's the
is what
same.
it's called.
We paid we paid one amount, it goes
And
in both.
it goes in both. Now, you're looking at publishing that in El Nuevo Herald, the Miami Herald, and obviously English, Spanish, and Creole.
There's no question, I'm sorry.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say, I mean, obviously, getting it in my Herald is a way to kind of CYA, because I understand it can be challenged, that is very important. But, so what's the bottom number then, like amount of questions? What would be realistic?
No, it's, let me suggest this. Why don't we,
won't know until we submit it for a quote to the
Let me-
paper, once you decide what you want.
let me say that
ballot.
at the outset, I think that Maria's point is well taken, you know? But the thing is that there have been a lot of work, and fortunately, we catch up with issues as it arise, you know? It is not my job to say, well, the budget is going to be this, that, and the other, but at the same point, we did have to work on the entire charter, and again, it's a priority that perhaps we could have been having less time if we could address it later.
May I explain something, because I was in the charter review board years ago. This is the legal requirement to be published for the whole public, the questions before us. That's a legal requirement. If you have the money, you do it. If you don't have the money,
Okay.
you can't do it.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Can this board determine what questions have a priority that need to go to the November ballot now, with a mindset that we have budgetary restrictions? And can, like, partially submit some questions and then at a later date submit the balance of the
No,
questions?
no. You have to have it at an election. It's going to cost you double if you do that. I have a suggestion, but if I may, I would suggest respectfully that we go through the sample questions and we determine, I mean, I have at least 3 that I think that are important, but perhaps not needed right now. Okay?
I got one more. I'm concerned about the money too, but here's what happened. Throughout the years, it's always the same concern. And every time we, as a matter of fact, we sat with the budget, the manager and I, yesterday, and we were not seeing eye to eye, okay? And we got along, but we were not seeing eye to eye because there's certain things that need to be done, and if you don't do it in little steps, then they become a huge step like we're at right now. Now, for years, I've been sitting, I've been in the commission since 2002, and I have heard our city attorney, year after year after year, we got it working in the charter. And it's always been, no, let's leave for next time, because of, it's always been a money issue.
The
Always.
Band-Aid approach.
It's always being a money issue. But I'll tell you an example that something that happened to me. As you know, I'm an architect, and I practice in, I go to different cities to present, projects and so on. And there's a city that should remain nameless that, this has happened to me in several times, where the zoning code has been in conflict with the charter, and those cities have been potentially, potentially being sued for a large amount of money because of a conflict between one and the other. Why? Because this charter is so old, and like the planning and zoning, the ordinance and the planning and zoning and so on, usually they get reviewed more often than the charters. Charters, cities tend to forget it and put it on the side, and sometimes that gets you in real trouble because of conflict between one and the other. And, that's just an example. I agree with the attorney. I think what we should do is look at the questions and see if we can set a priority, like Maria said, and then,
2 or 3 questions, that's it,
yeah,
the
and
main
then,
most important
and
question.
then, so we can lower, the amount, the cost.
Question for you. Wouldn't it, and this is just me thinking, make sense for us to finish the charter and then go back and look at all the questions? Because if we're gonna take questions away and then come back to the charter and then add more questions, we're kind of doing double the work.
You're absolutely right.
I would like to make a suggestion, if it's feasible, that we finish up, as Alex said, with this last number that we're talking about, and then we as a group, by ourselves, go over these things at a home and read them and think about them, and then on the 9th, when we meet again, then we can really fine tune them and come up with suggestions, especially based on what the city attorney says is he feels is the most important. But I don't think we can make a decision now unless we
Right.
have a chance to really read this through and decide, yeah, this is nitpicking, this is unimportant, oh yeah, we have to do this. That's what I would like to suggest, that we wait until next week and then really, and not have a set time to
Well,
adjourn. We'd be here at 5:30 and pound through this and get it finished.
let me make a suggestion, a caveat
Right.
following that, okay? In addition to what you have said, let me suggest this. Let me go over the question that you all have approved, okay? And I'll make the suggestions, what I think is very, very important, and things that are important, but we can live with them. Let me put it that way, okay? This is what I suggest.
Okay, so you're gonna go through the questions and not finish Article 8? Or-
I can finish Article 8 right now. It's
So we can finish up the charter and then review the question?
Right.
Okay?
If you go to the last page of my proposed charter amendments, I'm sorry, page 4.
Section 8.
I thought we were finishing.
No, page 4,
What page 4?
where it says,
But are we gonna go through?
no, let
Article
me,
8, transition
we're going to
schedule.
we're going to talk about Article 8, but please follow me, okay?
Go to page 4 of the
Page
charter.
2, go to page 4.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what I think ought to be done. By the way, it reads Article 7, transition schedule. It's not Article 7, it should be read Article 8, so please correct it.
On the,
Page 4. Write up my item 13.
okay, it should be Article 8, not 7, like this,
Right, it's an error, typographical error.
on page 4 of the proposal.
I'm
of the
sorry,
sample
I'm sorry,
charter
page
amendment.
5, on page 5, question 13,
Page 4.
It's page 4, question.
Page 4 of the charter or
Page
the
4
question?
of 5.
Page 4.
okay, 4
Questions,
or 5.
page 4.
On top of amendment 13, you got it.
Article, it reads Article 7. It's a typographical error. It should read Article 8, transition. Okay? Now, let me go to Section 8. Section 801, continuing a former charter provision. Then it refers to Chapter 26301, Act of 1949. I suggest that that should be deleted, okay? Had no reason to be in the charter.
20.
Number 20
The entire
of the
page
chapter.
501?
I'm sorry?
The entire section or just that line?
No, that 801,
Deleted completely.
deleted completely.
On what grounds? Why?
805, schedule.
Can we answer the question, Mr. Attorney?
Sure.
Why?
Why are we deleting the?
Because it refers to issues that are not germane to what we have in 2014. It refers to transition from act and provision of the charter that was approved in 1949, 50 years ago.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Motion to delete, Article 8.01.
Second.
Okay, all in
Second by
Pick one. There's all three of us. Simultaneously.
all in
Okay,
favor.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Article 8.05, scheduled.
8.02.
What happened to 8.2?
No, the ones that I suggest
Oh,
ought to
okay,
be
okay,
changed.
Got it. Sorry. 8.5, scheduled.
First election, we're talking an election that happened way back when, and then it refers to Tuesday, April 2nd, April 1980. No reason to be there.
We still have the elections in April.
No, sir, but that had been amended by charter review,
Throughout the years.
you see? So it's already in the books, why have it twice?
I think that's, just by the like.
But what you have in your hand is not official.
It is official,
It's not here in the charter review. I mean, in the charter, see the charter?
Mr. Commissioner.
Yeah, you found it?
My statement originally was,
Yeah.
what we have in the charter was a typographical or scripted error by someone that we paid to upgrade our charter, and it was not there. So this, although in the books, is not what's reflected in what it was approved subsequently there too. See, it says here,
But apparently the city never paid, never have money to do this correctly. That's why this is in that clause.
Charter Amendment Number 1 that was approved in April 1986. It shall become effective for the election to be held on the second Tuesday of April 1988.
So it's a redundancy.
Okay, so, count.
So you want to delete the entire section?
The entire section.
That's what-
Okay, so
Motion
805,
Motion to delete 8.05?
Parent A,
A.
okay?
Second?
Somebody second?
Second by Edwin Paz.
all in favor?
Aye.
Time of taking full effect. This charter shall, in full effect and for the purposes on or after the date and time of the first meeting of the newly elected council. Now, this is, I wanted to address this because that's very confusing. Of the first council, we're talking about 1949, okay? So I think that ought to be deleted.
We're talking about parent B?
B,
Isn't this a redundancy as well?
yes it is.
All right, so
Motion to delete parent B.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now C, first council meeting. On the Monday following the first election of council members, etc., we're talking again 1949. So I suggest that C is deleted.
Motion to delete parent C.
Transition ordinances.
Wait, all in favor, say aye.
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 Transition ordinances. The transition ordinances were ordinance from the idea, a committee created to form the city of West Miami in 1949. So transition ordinances were those ordinances between the time that the committee organizing the city met to the time that it was really organized. So it should be deleted.
Motion to delete for ND?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay, so the entire section 8.05 is deleted.
Okay, when you delete a section, do you put not used or something, or how do you go about?
If they delete a section, they'll reference it once the code book gets republished.
Okay, yeah, but what, in other words, you skip, you go 804, and then you go to 806?
Oh, you mean, will it be
I'm
automatic?
just
Will they
asking.
automatically?
No, it's renumbered. Let me, I get to that, Mr. Mayor. Please,
Renumber or reserve?
No, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if you don't let me finish,
Okay.
let me finish and then please ask the question,
Okay.
okay? You're going to allow me, the city attorney, like every other city does, the authority not to change but to renumber the sections, okay? So that's going to be cured by a section in the resolution that I just gave. Give me a copy of the resolution, please.
You want me to distribute that resolution to? all the members?
Give it to everybody.
Okay.
I thought that you had given it to everybody.
I was waiting for you. No, a resolution that was drafted by the city attorney in reference to these charter amendments.
The way that this works is this.
Well, just pass it down, we'll pass it down.
Okay.
Take one and pass it down.
The way that this works is this.
I need one.
The city commission
What's your turn?
appoints a city charter pursuant to the charter, okay? The city city charter review is composed of the city mayor, the city commissioners, and 5 members appointed each one by each one of the commissioners and mayor. Okay, so you're 10 people. Now, when you sit down and you say, this is what we're going to do, your suggestions go back to the board of city commissioners. And then the city commissioner must adopt whatever you all have decided. Okay? Those amendments go out to the electorate. We have to first request, Madam Clerk, we have to first request leave to do that from the Miami-Dade County Elections Department. Okay? So we send them a letter saying, this is what we intend to do, right? Then we bring it out to the commission at a commission meeting whereby they have a resolution presented in the form that I had just given to you, okay? This resolution reads, inter alia, this section 5, please go to section 5 and second page. That the city attorney is hereby instructed and directed to renumber and or to reletter the approved amendments to the articles or sections of the charter to conform with the charter. That means that if we have 8.05 and we deleted the entire 8.05, then the new number will jump back to 805. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Now, 806, deletion of absolute scheduled items. The council have power by resolution. This cannot be done. You see, the council have the power by resolution to delete within this Article 7, another mistake, Article 7, any section including this one when all events to which the section to be deleted or could become applicable had occurred. First of all, by resolution. This is a total No, okay? It's obsolete, you should do away with it. But, so you know, by resolution, you cannot amend a charter. Have to be it cannot be done by a public hearing, it cannot be done by an ordinance, it can only be done by a referendum, okay? And in addition, let me point this out. I said deleted, it should have been not deleted, but been a long day. The word will come to me in a minute, okay? I'll give it to you in a minute. Repealed.
Repeal.
So
So
repeal
mo-
section
Is it a
806.
motion do we need?
Yeah.
When you, I'm sorry?
Is that, we need a motion then?
Yes,
Motion to repeal 8.06.
Second.
right.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Now we go to 8.07, elected mayor, officer, and so on and so forth. We have already seen that this is an error. Because I just read you the official ballot from April 8, 1986. Okay? So it should be repealed.
Motion to repeal 8.07.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Upon passage of this charter, the terms of the two council members elected to 4 years in the 1978 election shall continue until the regular election in 1982. This should be deleted, repealed, because it refers to 1982 and 78.
Anybody else want to jump in?
Motion to repeal 8.07, Rin B.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This charter shall take effect on April 14, 1980.
Should have both been removed since then.
Okay, I guess we'll delete now to,
Repealing it? Repealing it.
Repeal?
Repeal
Repeal
or
or delete, what's the difference?
It should.
Repeal or delete, what's the?
Repealed.
Repeal.
Yeah,
Ditto.
Repealed.
Delete.
Somebody, anybody.
Repeal means superseded by a newer document.
repeal means to abolish, to obliterate, to do away with, to erase
All
forever.
right, motion to repeal 8.08.
Second.
It's like when I go to the priest and say, I'm sorry, priest.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Basically this.
How does this work? Okay, that effective date. All proposed amendments shall become effective upon adoption. That's okay. You know?
Where are you?
8.9.
Oh, okay.
8.10, conflict. All other provision in the
Are we
city,
deleting 09?
No.
No.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm
No
sorry.
changes, it's good.
all other provisions of the city charter not in conflict with these amendments shall be in full force and effect upon the date, upon the effective date of this amendments. You should leave that on.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Should we add reference numbers under 8.10?
You know, this is only, when you say references, you're just talking for investigation or research issues. That has nothing to do with charter amendments.
Correct.
The charter amendments is what it reads, okay? Now that we have completed section 8,
That's it, that was,
okay?
that's right.
Let me go back and make certain suggestions.
Wait, I think we need to give each other a hand. This is, we did a good job. We just completed the charter review. That was amazing.
Without gonna have a cookie.
Well, pass it down, they're good.
Well, please, are coming your way.
You said your videotaping this?
I think this,
It's not live,
this board
right?
has done an amazing job.
Oh, so they're watching TV?
Extremely well together.
Cookies.
Hi, Mary.
It's good to
I
see
need a
you.
cookie.
Busted.
Villalobos, get around a cookie.
It's pretty cold. Yes, there is.
A cookie we give you.
Need a shot to get through the question.
I have one already.
You're talented.
A big,
You can have two.
no, I know, but
All right.
big and strong and dead. Good. No, thank you, I have one enough for me.
You haven't had any yet. You want everybody else?
I had the chocolate.
Yeah, so for the shooting tape.
The chocolate, I have the chocolate.
Oh, I had two downstairs.
Ellie walked in at the right
I
time.
got her, she was getting it back.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed and see whether we can finish.
The question.
Is that okay? Now, I had suggested that we add a section, an article stating form of government. Now, the form of government implied by the rest of the charter and the rest of the acts that we have done in the past. The only reason that I did not put that as a question was that this is one of the things that I think that for aesthetic purposes we should have there, but that would add another cost for the sake of saying anything else to something that I think that is important, but it's not in the 5-star importance that I suggest. So I suggest that my suggestion be deleted.
So, and it's not even in the question?
Not there.
Okay.
Motion.
Now, let's go to
Look at using that.
question number 1. Now, I'd like for you to turn to section 3.02. And I'll read 3.02. Any elector of the city of Miami who has been a resident for 3 years. By the way, I think that 3 years is excessive, and if challenged, we're going to lose. Okay? I understand that I have been changed to 2 years.
I have a motion for that. I think we talk about 2 years, right?
Yes, we
Yes,
did.
it was
We approved
approved.
2 years.
Yes. Okay, we go back to the item of cost. Is that a 5-star importance or?
That would be a 5-star.
Yeah.
Okay. so-
Now, let me say something. I just finished reading the chapter review of the city of Doral. They put 3 months.
3 months?
Wow,
3
that's
months.
insane. City of Miami has 6 months.
3 months.
That's
Okay?
3 months is.
So you know it.
That's.
We had a challenge with one of the candidates at some point years and years ago when he said that he was living in the city of West Miami. We challenged him, and the commission said, you're not an elector of the city. We went to court, and the court told us that even if he lived in a hallway, that he could have his candidacy in the city of West Miami. The reason being is that if he lives 3 months in the city of West Miami, nobody knows him, and nobody's going to vote for him. That's what the court, the 3rd District Court of Appeals said when it was appealed. Okay? So the court is very, very, very liberal as far as the rights of a citizen to vote and to be elected, okay?
North Miami had a similar case, the city of North Miami, because I worked with a person that ran, and she clearly does not even live there, and they took her to court, and the court went in the favor that she lived in because she owned a house there, and there's no definite rule
Well,
of
at a
residency.
state level, you don't have to live in the district to actually run.
Right.
You have to
actually-
live within a certain
That's
amount of
correct.
time. If you move into that district,
Then you're
you can
fine.
run there.
Yeah.
If
I don't
you're
know,
elected, they
Commission,
give you, I
I'm
think,
going to
6
the road.
months to move it.
I think it's either 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
Let me take my coat off.
You may.
Uh-oh.
I don't have one.
Oh, you guys were fine.
That's okay, that's okay. Let me read that sentence because it's important, and I think that it's critical that we have this. It says, any elector of the city who has been a resident for 2 years, 3 years, or whatever you say, immediately prior to the qualifying date shall be eligible to hold office as city council member as long as he remains a resident of the city. That's good. That statement is okay. The next statement, the council shall be the judge of the election, I think that that's terrible. The reason for that is assuming that there's a candidate against the mayor, and a candidate against the two commissioners,
Should be the same.
okay? So you have 3 members being challenged, and those 3 members that have a vested interest are going to sit in judgment, okay? So I have in my suggestion, the city clerk, B, A and B. The city clerk acting as supervisor of election of the city shall be empowered to, as a qualifying agent of the election. That is being said someplace else, but I thought it would be important enough as to be ratified here, okay? A motion.
Well, do we have the 2 years, which is not
Yeah, there's no
It's blank.
amount.
blank right now?
We had agreed for 2.
Yes.
And some had some reservations about it, but
You tell me, guys.
No, we're
Okay,
just
so
saying
what
it's
we need-
blank here, so we.
It's up to us.
I think it was
Ah,
a
to
compromise.
you.
I think it was a
We- we
we
compromise.
had agreed on 2.
I think, if I remember correctly, we.
Yes.
Yeah, we did
agree
to
you
that, yeah.
agreed.
It was sitting at
2
4,
years.
someone added it to 1, and I think we agreed at 2, right?
Right.
That's
So-
what the minutes reflect.
Yes.
And some had said 3 months as the round, but
Okay, so
it's up to you.
2 years?
Two years, all in favor of that, 2 years?
Aye.
Okay, now let's,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Out of curiosity, is the question gonna read just like this, or are they gonna know that it's currently 3 years?
No, I left it blank.
No. When this goes to vote, I go in to vote, I wasn't in this charter review. It's gonna say any elector has been a resident for 2 years. Am I gonna know that the current one says 3?
Look, we cannot have,
No, the reason I ask is people may vote against the proposal thinking that the current one is 1, or they may vote for thinking that the current one is 5.
Very
Is what I'm saying, if I'm reading this, what are we changing?
2 instead of 3.
No, but how does the voter know?
How does the voter know?
Three.
That's my question.
Two.
How does the voter know? How am I gonna know to vote for or against if I don't know what they currently?
you're totally right. They don't.
3, so change
You
it
don't
from
know.
3 years to 2 years.
They don't.
So that's gonna influence, I mean, I was for 1, and I don't really care, it's not a strong issue
Okay.
for me, but you're not gonna get your desired outcome if the person doesn't know what it currently is. So if you really wanted 2, you better tell them it was 3, or people are gonna vote against it thinking that it's currently 1.
But the voter will vote, if he likes 2 years, he votes yes. If he doesn't like 2 years, he votes no.
I don't think so. I
But
think you
not
need to know what
everybody's
you're
gonna
voting
review the
for.
charter before
I
they.
don't think you're gonna know what
Nobody's
you're
going to
voting
vote.
for. I mean, I don't know, that's just my
You want to
suggestion.
vote for, organize a number. If you don't like 2, you vote no. If you like 2, you vote
But
no.
I mean, like
No,
2
I know
better
what
than
you're
3,
saying,
but
but
I
if
may
you-
like it less than 1. If
Why
I don't
do
know
you-
what it currently is, how am
Be
I gonna
resident,
vote for or
Incorporate
against?
3, it's 3,
Yeah,
from
but-
2 years to, from 3 years.
But
to
you have to
2
condensate
years.
the
Very good,
question.
very
Can't
good,
you
very
just
good
say-
suggestion.
But you
What
have to
was the
condensate the
suggestion?
question.
Very good suggestion.
2 instead of 3.
Okay,
Put
how
it
do
in
we,
the
Put
question.
it in the question.
Very
Instead
good
of-
suggestion.
Instead
how
of-
would we say
That's
that?
it.
2 years
Any
instead
elector has
of
been
2
a resident
No,
for 2
the city-
instead of 3.
2.
I would say it's not usual,
Make it
in-
simple, the question.
excuse me, it's not usual in the ballot, but, not usual in the ballot, not usual, but you could say this. Any elector that have been a resident for 2 years, parentheses, presently 3 years,
Oh, that's.
close
good.
parentheses.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
You have to make simple, the question.
Yes.
Perfect.
And short.
okay?
okay, now we need to vote for the whole thing for
Hold on,
approval.
question. Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Here in my notes, I have that we also put a minimum age, but I don't see it.
Again, let me tell you something. That was discussed. I don't know that it was approved, but I would counsel
It was
against it.
discussed- It was discussed at the meeting of May 7th, but the age, then you made comments about,
I think that that's a very, very dangerous issue,
yes.
you know? Because you're limiting the voting rights of someone that can go to war and be killed.
Then give
That's
vote.
why.
18 is considered an
Well,
adult.
18.
You can't drink, you can't you can't buy a firearm, but you can go to war.
You have 18 years old mature guy. You have a 50-year idiot.
You're right. It's true.
Don't worry about that age.
But this was to vote or to run for office?
To run for
If it's
office.
run for office,
You can
they
vote
vote
for
for
Currently
you to
sits
worry
at what?
He ain't
It doesn't
worried
have
about
no
it.
I would
age.
say leave it.
Are you worried about that?
My only question is, so
No.
legally, a 16-year-old can run
Let,
for
let,
office.
let me tell you, you're treading very dangerous grounds because the courts, all of the courts throughout the United States of America, okay, are very partial to the liberalization of voting and being elected.
Absolutely.
So,
As it stands right now, it does not have age at all.
That's
Our
it.
charter doesn't-
I think we should stay away from numbers aside from
Yeah,
that.
because
Terms.
let the guy, the mature guy, run if he's young, and the idiot if he's old, doesn't.
Let the voters decide.
I remember reading in the paper years ago about this 14-year-old kid who became the mayor of some little town in
But nowadays they
Yettensville.
can challenge any
14 years old.
anyway because
So
it's.
I
The voters wanted them?
They didn't, well, yeah, either that or.
you could say at least 18 years old if you want to add to
But
something.
that's another sentence we have to add that's gonna take.
That's
away.
okay, I mean, you know, if
Leave in
it
the way
please,
it is now.
ladies and gentlemen, we know, we need one at a time.
No, right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
The record.
you can't vote unless you're 18 years old. That's written someplace, right?
Yes.
So how can you run for office
Okay.
if you?
Well, you can.
You can't even vote for yourself.
You can just
No,
vote for
you
yourself.
can't get elected if you are not registered, if you are not an elector, registered to vote.
So.
You can- You're not
Like
elected.
this,
That's it.
leave it that way,
Okay,
leave
so
it the way it is.
Next.
Look at the
Good
age.
question, thank you for
Look
the
at the years.
clarification. Let's move along.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Attorney,
So
go
it says
ahead.
registered voters, so you gotta be 18. So that's-
Yes.
Any elector
So we're going
has
to
to
add
be a
that?
registered
So
voter.
that's-
No.
We're just gonna leave it open to
Yeah,
interpretation.
no, they're saying.
No, elector, you must be registered
Registered
to
to
vote to
vote.
be
You can't
an
vote,
elector.
You
register
at
to
least
vote unless
have
you're
to be
18.
Yes.
How does-
Electorate, in the electorate. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, covers it. Covers it.
Because any electors, they had to be
Sitting in my
18.
rocking
right?
chair,
Bravo.
18-year-old, be the mayor.
So that,
All right.
Commissioner of 18.
Let's go, the rest of the paragraph.
Not the majority.
A member charged with conduct constituting grounds for forfeiture of this office shall be entitled to public hearing. Now, where does this paragraph belong to?
Where are you?
where are
Where
you?
are we?
The following
Section
3.02,
Is this
Wait.
sentence number 3.
Mr. Attorney, don't we have to go,
amendment number 2?
don't we have to
To
go up to
vote
the
for
boxes
the
over
2
here,
years?
for or against? Or no, at this point?
Do we
No,
approve?
that's
No,
not- that's
no,
for
no.
the voters.
That's
That's just a
That's
sample.
example.
But Mr.
Sorry.
Attorney, don't they have to
Question.
vote on these 2 years, to put 2 years as
I had already thought
a
about it. That's
minimum
why I didn't
residency requirement? Don't they have to vote on this?
Oh, yeah, you have to vote on
I
that.
mean, for this amendment?
Didn't they vote?
Yes.
No,
No.
I mean,
No.
it was approved,
We did not.
no.
No, we haven't.
No.
Go ahead and vote then.
Motion to, I guess, leave this question as it sits for section 3.02 qualifications to hold office.
2 years with, in parentheses, presently 3 years. So
Second the motion.
by me, second by Frank.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Karen B.
You want?
Karen B. 302 Karen B.
And paren D, yeah, just go ahead and move paren B, please.
Need a motion on B?
Move paren B, please.
Motion.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, the following third sentence in the same paragraph, 3.02. A member charged with conduct constituted ground for forfeiture. Does this belong here? It doesn't belong here. It belongs where forfeiture is.
What is this?
And I think it already says that. This is a.
Right, but I'm going through the
This
whole
would
thing
belong
again.
in 3.05.
So,
Right,
All right.
correct.
motion to delete 3.02, the sentence beginning with.
No, not deleted, because we are transferring to 3.05 paren B.
Okay, so,
That will be my job to renumber it,
okay, so.
okay?
Motion to move under 3.02, the sentence beginning with a member charged with conduct constituting grounds for forfeiture, to move it to 3.05.
5B.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Article 3, Section 3.03, election separate groups. Term of mayor, 2 to 4 years. What say you all?
the board.
What did we, ended up, agreeing on?
What did you?
Okay, as far as I can recollect, it was left
In
in
2
4
years.
years,
It was left
at
the same.
2 years.
In 2 years, yeah.
Because after the discussion, it was agreed that if we got a mayor like we had before.
Yeah, in idiot.
Yeah.
So every 2 years.
2 years.
we-
Okay.
What we asked for, 2 years.
So we are deleting, crossing out my question number 3.
So we're not gonna have this question.
We're not going to have that question. Say Article 3, Section 3.04, compensation and expenses. There was a long discussion about that, whether or not you would all permit outside of the state of Florida or not.
Did we have a motion on?
No, we need a motion
Take
to
it out,
delete
take out,
that.
no, just take it out the question.
Then we delete it?
We're on
Was
the
it-
motion that we just.
Yes, we did.
We did?
No, we didn't
No,
know.
we're
that.
the motion.
Excuse me,
We
delete
have the
what?
motion to delete.
Delete the question.
Motion to delete
question.
the question, section 3.03.
Second.
Yeah?
We need a motion.
Motion, motion.
I'll second the motion.
Second.
Aye. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Down.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Previous to that.
They just wanna drive us.
Okay.
Section 3, Article 3, Section 3.04. And it should be reading, paragraph 4. It should read Article 3, Section 3.04, paragraph 4. What say you all?
Motion
To do what?
to place the question on the ballot or not? Is that what?
What is it that you want? You want for them, for anyone to travel in Florida only, like it reads now, or you want outside of Florida, like you all discussed?
We had a discussion
Well,
last week about that.
Within the state of Florida was stricken out and
And
was.
the discussion was, take it out and still.
Yeah, what I don't
Yeah,
understand
to
is we
eliminate
had done
state of
this.
Florida, so that our mayor,
Yeah.
the mayor has
We
nothing
just have to approve the question.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is just a sample.
So the question is written, the question does not state, does not limit it to within the state of Florida. Correct? That's how the question reads.
I'm sorry?
3.04 does not limit it to the state of Florida. It opens it up.
Mhm.
So, motion to approve section 3.04
Okay, so that goes on the ballot.
on the ballot, yes.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Referendum by petition. Article 3, Section 3.07, referendum by petition. I thought it was very important because it said before that as soon as someone comes and challenges an ordinance, that ordinance stands suspended. And I think that that's not right. It should be, it would be deemed valid until results are certified. I think that should be in the ballot.
So this is a level 5 question. This is one of your, this
Yes.
is a level 5, top level. This is a priority.
Yes.
So motion to put section 3.07 on the ballot as stated.
Second.
Second by Carl.
Okay,
Aye,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Article 3, Section 3.08, Mayor and Vice Mayor. Shall Article 3, Section 3.8 be amended to delete the mayor executes contracts and deeds since they are the duties of the city manager? I think that that's very important.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Shall Article 3.308 be amended to reflect that the mayor shall act as the city official designated to represent the city? I think that's a duplicate. Already have been said in other things, so I respectfully suggest that that be stricken.
Okay, do we need a
Motion to
motion?
strike number 7 of section 3.08.
Second.
Evelyn Price.
Evelyn passed.
So that it's not going to go to the ballot,
No.
Correct.
okay?
Right.
Article 4, Section,
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Article 4, Section 4.02, to be amended, City Commission shall appoint a city manager by a majority vote pursuant to a contract approved by the City Commission and only removed for just cause. Let me tell you, that is important, but it's a minor 1 star.
Then remove
Can
it.
we come back to it?
Contradictory. It's important, but it's a 1 star.
Out of 5 stars, this is a 1 star.
1 star.
Why?
What is
Because
important?
it hasn't been an issue. It really hasn't been an issue. The issue of the contract went into effect after many years. I mean, for as long as I'm here, it's never been an issue one way or the other.
So I suggest-
Give it an order of importance, Mr. Villalobos.
Okay, so
If it hasn't been a big
motion
issue.
to not have this as a ballot
Second.
question.
Right.
Stricken
Okay.
question.
So, question 8 is stricken.
Okay.
Motion and second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Powers and duties of the manager shall Article 4, Section 4, allow the city manager to ex officio be deleted. Now, again, I told you today that first of all was approved by referendum. Okay?
Motion to strike section 4.04 from the ballot.
Remove it.
No,
No.
not Section .04. Question number 9,
Number 9, sorry. Section 4.04, number 9,
out of the ballot.
out of the ballot.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Number 10, shall Section 4, Section 4.06 be amended to read, the City Commission shall appoint a city engineer by majority vote to a contract approved by the City Commission and only remove from office for just cause. I tell you that is important, but it could be taken out because it had not been an issue.
Motion to strike question 10.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Appointment and removal compensation of city attorney. Question 11.
Motion to strike question.
No, wait a minute. This is a 10-star question.
Don't delete it.
It's never been an issue.
Okay, hold on.
It says, wait a minute.
City attorney, that's why.
Wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute.
I think it should be a strike, wait a minute.
What I'm saying, wait a minute, please be patient, please.
Make a motion.
Now, be patient, please, let me explain. You see, the reason that these 3 questions came to bear was because that gives the administration, the city attorney, the city engineer, some sort of a sense of stability. But it is important, but not that important as to be in the ballot this time. So I suggest that question 11 be stricken.
Motion to strike question 11.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
Now, recall. This is a 6-star
Yeah.
question. Shall Section 604 be amended to read, the qualifying elected of the city shall have the power to recall and remove from office any elected official of the city as provided by Florida statute, provided that in no event such recall may take place before the expiration of 1 year after being elected. The reason that I say that this is a 5-star or better is that you don't want someone to be elected today and be challenged tomorrow. So I think that this should be in the ballot.
Yeah.
Motion to leave section 6.04 in the ballot as written.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
We need a second.
Oh,
Second.
We already did, yeah.
1 second.
13, shall Section 8.01, 8.05, 8.06, 8.07 referring to provisions, chapter, special acts, and so on and so forth, I suggest that this be, it should be stricken, the whole thing.
Stricken from the ballot?
But you see, let me put it this way. I'm going to argue both sides of the table, okay? Number 1, it is on the paper, okay? But technically, we have seen that Section 8 applies to years gone by, that it doesn't need to be here, okay? So we can language this by saying, shall Article 7, transition schedule, referring to chapter of past years be repealed I have still a question to that, but I think that for now, until the next meeting, we leave it alive, okay? To see whether or not we actually have to put it out in the ballot or not. Okay, we already determined that by act of subsequent charter review elections, most of that have been repealed, okay? But let me think about that, and I'll bring you out at some
Are
point.
you saying,
So number
are you
13 is
saying that
deferred.
because it refers to prior years, that maybe it's obsolete, so we can remove it without having it go to the ballot?
Well, we have spoken about it because, number one, it talked about transition from whenever the committee met to the first election where the city was created. That was 806,
Right.
okay? And then it talks about the first election, okay, in 1980. And then it taking time full in effect. It talks about, again, the last year's transition ordinances that were passed in 1949.
We defer until the next meeting,
Okay.
instead of the entire article.
We already agreed that individually
There should be.
they were obsolete, okay?
Right.
But let me see how I can phrase it,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Now, 14, shall the scheduled election remain to be conducted on the second Tuesday of April, commencing over April, with the April election 2014?
I have a question. If it is that way, why do we have to say it?
Where does it say that?
How much it cost the question?
Oh, I thought it said it somewhere.
We
So it
don't have to
doesn't
pay
say
for
it?
this.
How
does.
much?
It does say, it's
where-
in the charter.
Where does it say in the charter?
The charter.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, while you're looking, Madam Manager, which is good, please look at it. While you're looking at it, tell me where it is because I didn't find it. Let's go to last page, page 15, question 15. Shall the former governor of the city of West Miami continue to be mayor, commissioner, former governor? I suggest that is very important, but it's superfluous because it's reflected by reference. So I deem it out.
Motion to strike question 15.
Second. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
So out of the 15 right now,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And we're still looking for 14 now. That has to be something.
We have 6 right now.
so out of 15, we have now 7.
So we're about 7,000.
Somewhere is the sentiment.
Oh, well, that's,
But there's a lot of questions that
That's
you didn't put on
considering-
here that we discussed.
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of questions that you didn't put on this suggestion that we had discussed.
Like what? Because I'm sorry, but I went through all my notes, and if you find any, I'd be very happy to put it back. I mean, if you tell me which one they are, I mean, I'd be very happy to, with my error. I went with the city attorney, with the city clerk and the city manager, and we all three agreed that this was the question that you have all discussed.
Maria, which one you're considering so I can refer to the minutes? And
I didn't bring those with.
Which, I mean,
I didn't bring my, no,
remember the issue,
No.
topic?
Should be good.
Because you have the minutes here.
I think it's there, second Tuesday of April.
There is a biennial,
Biennial year.
which should suggest that it's held
In the
every 3
charter
years.
is that the elections should be the second Tuesday of April. I think I read it.
Right. That's the way it should be.
Nobody has
I'm not looking, but I think
computer
I-
that you can Alt F and search for. Porque si lo tienes en el computer, it's easy to search.
Frankly, I didn't find it. That's why I thought that perhaps it should go there.
It talks about the candidate receiving the highest number of votes in each
Biennial,
regular biennial
It
election.
refers to biennial, pero no dice exactamente
The
that
second
the
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Somewhere in the code or in the charter, it references it.
Somewhere,
I've read it.
I remember it.
I've read it. Yes, I think we
Yeah.
should, Pepe,
What?
defer this issue until the next meeting to see if we can find it, because I know that I've read it.
Okay.
Somewhere.
So, believe it or not, we have gone out to the top of the mountain and look at the promised land.
So we're deferring 14.
Oye, Pedro, perdóname que no te haya contestado, pero estaba en
I think we need to motion to adjourn the meeting.
Before we do that,
Pending these two
cualquier atrás en
items.
donde está la policía. Ve all the way back y cualquier en un espacio vacío. ¿No ves? Bueno, si te llegan por la grúa te van a llevar exactly about,
You can park back there.
you can't park right there? Okay, listen, I'm gonna go down and park back there and then you park where I'm parked, okay? Yo estoy, the first,
Gandhi, Candy, that's a real
de
good.
Cadena
park.
Negra, sí.
First one is-
That's right.
Gandhi maybe is open.
Gandhi space is open, should be.
Oye, mira,
Cándida
espérate un
Blanca.
momentico, hay uno que dice Cándida Blanca, un
Commission,
commissioner, is that full up?
should be.
Somebody's parked there.
Johnny,
Okay,
it
I'm
refers to the first meeting, the first meeting.
Ah, bueno.
Pero
Yo
if we
parqué
do
ahí.
away with the article, the transition.
No, Gandhi.
Eso, entonces ya se
Okay,
puede.
yes.
we need to adjourn the meeting, but before we adjourn the meeting,
Cari was working with
We're
your.
deferring the question 14.
and another one.
The last ones.
The last two.
So we
13,
deferring the last
14.
three.
The last
Two. No, well, we're looking at the last, 13 and 14.
13 and 14.
Right.
Basically everything you first.
And then you have 15.
We said remove, no?
Yes, that one was removed.
He said to remove that one.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
do the order.
July 9th, July 14th at 5:30 PM.
Yes, and I got one more. Since Maria brought it up, please go back and review any items that you might think or we missed or we haven't finished. And shall we like call in so we can put it, shall we call you or the attorney, or the attorney to put it on the agenda?
Call the clerk.
Call the clerk to put it in the agenda, so we
Right.
can discuss it next time.
Maybe an email would be helpful to her, that way she can pass it on for the agenda preparation. Friday is a legal holiday, and obviously there's a 4th of July celebration and everybody's invited. However, the agenda will probably be published on Monday of next week.
Monday. In hectic.
It's crazy, and tomorrow we need to prepare for the last minute preparations for the 4th of July, so.
And if you have any questions,
Monday.
don't worry, call the 4th of July Yolanda.
Yep, we will.
Anything
The
else? We'll go to
weekend
the
Just
order.
for
Budget
clarity,
is
next
30.
meeting is when?
July 9th.
July 9th. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good night.
180. The next meeting is the one I'm not coming. That's why I was confused.
Yo decía,
No.
no venía.